Hola chicos, hi guys. So we have been learning in the last two classes about ser and estar. We first learned how to use ser and the rules that apply to using ser. And then we learned estar and the rules that apply to using the verb estar. When we talked about the verb ser, we learned that we use the acronym doctor to help us understand when we are to use the verb ser in a sentence. And doctor means descriptions, occupation, characteristics, time, origin, and relationship. Estar uses the acronym place to help us understand when to use the verb estar. And place means position, location, action, condition, and emotion. So now we're going to learn a few additional tips to help us understand better when to use ser versus estar. So let's take a look. So we use ser for permanence while we use estar for transience. And what that means is that we use the verb ser to refer to more permanent traits of someone or something, while estar refers to more transient conditions. Let's take a look at some examples so that we can see better what this means. So the first example reads, María es alta, delgada y rubia. What that means is María is tall, thin, and blonde. In this example, ser is a description of physical traits that should not, under normal circumstances, change. In the second sentence reads, Sandra está confundida porque no sabe cómo llegar al restaurante. Sandra is confused because she doesn't know how to get to the restaurant. In the second example, están with the adjective confundida, it's a more non-permanent or transient condition. Right? Sandra is confused at the moment, but she's not always going to be confused. Let's take a look at another tip. We use estar when we're describing something in the moment. So when we use ser to describe the qualities or characteristics of a person, place, or thing, the meaning behind those descriptions are disassociated from time and duration. However, when we use estar to describe the same attributes, they become associated with a short period of time or a more transient time, right? So let's look at some of those examples. Okay, the first example reads, Mi novia es guapa. My girlfriend is very beautiful. In this example, we are using the verb ser. We're talking about a girlfriend being beautiful. That is a description. Therefore, we use the verb ser. In the second example, estás muy guapa en ese vestido de novia. What that reads is, you are very beautiful in that wedding dress. So in this example, we use están because the speaker is talking about a person being beautiful while wearing a wedding dress. So what that means is the person wearing the wedding dress is more of a non-permanent condition or description, meaning she's not always going to be in that wedding dress. Whereas the girlfriend being beautiful, that's a permanent description of the person. Okay, so let's take a look at another tip. All right, so we use están when we talk about locations, except when speaking about events. Estar is used to describe where a person, place, or thing is physically. When speaking about events occurring at a certain time, at a specific time, we use ser. So if the meaning of the verb is to be held or take place, that is when we use ser. Let's take a look at some examples. Right, so in the first example reads, Los exámenes están en los escritorios de los alumnos. The exams are on the students' desks. In this example, the we use están to indicate the location of where the exams are. They are located in the student's desks. Let's look at a second example. El examen es en la biblioteca del colegio. The exam will be held in the school library. For this example, we use ser, the verb ser, because we're talking about a location where something is being held. Okay. Right, so let's take a look at another tip. Use estar to describe how food tastes. Right, so although we use ser for permanent or descriptive characteristics, use estar to describe how food tastes. In the example below, we use estar because we are referring to a particular churro that will only exist for that point in time, in which is in front of you, before you have eaten it or right after. So let's take a look at that example. Este churro está delicioso. This churro is delicious. So we use the verb estar. When referring to food on a menu or on a menu selection of food itself, we use ser instead of están, because we are instead making reference to food items that are static and don't change. Okay, so let's look at that example. La comida de este restaurante es deliciosa. The food at this restaurant is delicious. All right, guys, so this concludes our tips for ser versus estar. Hope this helps. Adios.